I am the Master Raider, and today we are ranking Spider-Man villains. Remember, I am right and you are wrong. My opinion is fact. Deal with it. Let's get into the categories. At the bottom of the barrel, we have For the Streets. These are the villains that suck. They don't even lace Spidey's boots. Then we have Petty Crime. On a good day, yeah, they got a good fight in them. But on a bad day, meh, what are they going to do? Then we have Criminal Activity. These guys aren't too shabby at their jobs, but there's just a bunch of cooler villains ahead of them. Then we have Rikers. These guys are very tough foes for Spider-Man. We like to see him go back and forth. They're great. And finally, we have the Raft, the top of the top, the most deadly villains to ever cross path with Peter Parker. To start off this list, we have the second symbiote to grace our presence in the comics. We have Carnage. And Carnage is going into the Raft. This dude is insane. He's giving Peter trouble every time he runs up against him. He's not afraid to kill a bunch of people. He is the equivalent to the Joker in Marvel Comics, except he is just a lethal weapon. This dude could kill you out of nowhere. He has bonded with Cletus to the point of being lined up in his bloodstream. So you put a serial killer together with a symbiote, this is what happens. This is what you get. Carnage has given Venom a run for his money. I believe in Carnage's first appearance, it took Venom and Spider-Man teaming up to take down Carnage. For those reasons, I have Carnage in the Raft. Next, we have Chameleon. Now, for me, Chameleon is in Petty Crime. Look, this guy is cool. He has all this potential. The whole idea of swapping faces and swapping the voices, but that's it. That's all he does. At the end of the day, you can still hit him in the face and it's over. He would be a great James Bond villain, but for Spider-Man, someone who just goes off of his spider senses, you're going to have to trick the Spidey senses. That's an incredibly hard feat to do. Chameleon just doesn't really scratch the surface here of what he could do. I've got him at Petty Crime. Now, we have Dr. Octopus. Doc Ock, as J. Jonah Jameson would say. He's going into the Raft. This is one of Spider-Man's greatest villains of all time, Doc Ock. He has always given Peter trouble, not only on the battlefield, but also intellectually. I personally love the stories where Doc Ock is a former mentor to Peter. I think of Spider-Man, the PS5 video game, and how you get to watch Doc Ock just be this brilliant scientist, just diving and delving deep into madness. And it's a very sad story for Doc Ock. We can also talk about Spider-Man 2 with Alfred Molina, making the character sympathetic. They just really add depth to Doc Ock as a character. He also had a run as Spider-Man himself, being the superior Spider-Man, because of course Otto has to be superior to Peter. So I have Doc Ock at the Raft. Now we have Electro. And Electro is going into Rikers off of sheer power alone. This dude is blowing up power plants left and right. His mask is super lame, so that's why he's not getting any higher. Just off the mask alone, have you looked at it? It looks like a freaking starfish is on his face. I can't figure out why that still is the case. You can't modernize Electro. I look at Electro from Spider-Man PS5. What a great design there. And they just still lean into the cheesy comic gimmick. At least when they tried with Electro in live action with Amazing Spider-Man 2, they went the blue living electricity route, which wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I would prefer something cooler. And I will say, when they brought Jamie Foxx back as Electro for No Way Home, spoilers, I think they did a really great thing in revamping his style. He looked a lot more menacing, a lot more dangerous in No Way Home. but Electro I got in Rikers. Now we have the Green Goblin, and I'd be honest, if there's another tier higher than the Raft, the Green Goblin would go there. But Green Goblin is going into the Raft because it's the Green Goblin. This man murdered Peter's girlfriend right in front of him. He has tortured Peter left and right and middle and everything in between. He pretty much got his son to become a supervillain. Unintentionally. I look at Willem Dafoe's take on Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, and it is phenomenal. I do love the scumbag Norman Osborn when he's not Green Goblin. He's just truly that powerful CEO badass who goes lunatic when he needs to. And nothing is scarier than hearing a laugh from the sky on a glider and just seeing a pumpkin fall on your face just to murder you. Do you remember in Spider-Man, the original one with Tobey Maguire, when you see a pumpkin bomb for the first time and he turns those people into skeletons? He blows everything off their body but their bones. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Green Goblin, the Raft. Next, we have Kraven. And I love Kraven. Kraven is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. And when done correctly, very high up. I'm going to put him in Rikers because I love to see him. Sometimes he doesn't ride the villain line. This is a founding member of the Sinister Six. He ends up dropping out because he kind of is buddy-buddy with Spider-Man. I think of the 90s cartoon iteration of Kraven quite a bit, where he kind of gets his redemption arc because he finds love. But of course, the most iconic thing from Kraven is Kraven's Last Hunt. What a phenomenal story. Ends up taking Spider-Man to the brink and takes over the mantle of Spider-Man just to realize he can never live up to the hype. I also like Kraven in Spider-Man PS5 #2, and if you haven't figured out by now, the Spider-Man PlayStation video game franchise with Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 and the Miles Morales game are phenomenal games. Great take on Spider-Man. If I was to introduce anybody to Spider-Man, I would probably start there. But Kraven is phenomenal as one of the main bad guys in this. You see him take people off the board, and you realize that this is a man that has honor and wants to be taken out by something bigger and stronger than him. So, I have Kraven and Rikers. Next, we have the Lizard. I'm going to put the Lizard in Criminal Activity. Here's why. First of all, I love the look of the Lizard. It's awesome. You have the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with the Lizard. And then you have a weird thing with the Lizard where he's just obsessed with turning other people into lizards. And you're like, okay, I kind of get it because you're a lizard and you want other lizard friends. Sure. But the obsession over it. Like, what a great concept at first with Kirk Connors losing his arm, I believe, in combat. I could be wrong. But to have it turn around and then he's trying to regrow limbs, what a wonderful idea. And a great contribution to society if he pulls this off. And then he turns into a lizard monster because the DNA just takes over. I love Kirk Connors. I love the Lizard. We just need to dial it back on the obsession with turning everybody else into lizards. I've got him in Criminal Activity because when he's out there, he is a brute instinctual force. Next, we have Mysterio. And Mysterio is also going into Criminal Activity because he is just pure illusions. And while I think that is great, and Jake Gyllenhaal did a fantastic job of bringing Mysterio to life, as a Spider-Man villain, he's kind of kooky. He just is. He wears a fishbowl on his head. And don't get it twisted, I love the fishbowl because he stands out. However, when all you rely is on special effects and illusions and electronics, it can only get you so far. I kind of love a take if Mysterio can figure out how to use real magic and then influence that with illusions, like Loki almost. I think that'd be really cool. But I got Mysterio at Criminal Activity. Now we have Sandman. And Sandman is going into Rikers. This close to being upper tier. But Sandman, in some of the iterations that I've seen, isn't full bad guy. And what I mean by that is he always has a family that he's trying to support or help out. And he just goes down the wrong path because it's Sandman. But think about this. This is a giant man made of sand, okay? If Spider-Man's at the beach, he's screwed. He's screwed. The Sandman's going to win, more than likely. But you look at it, whenever Sandman is in New York, he's going full kaiju mode, turning into a giant monster, and it takes a lot of water to slow this guy down. And also, do you remember how brutal the the fight was between Flint and Spidey in Spider-Man 3, where he just shoves Flint's face into the train, which, by the way, Venom Spider-Man, crazy. But I have Sandman in Rikers. And now we have Scorpion. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm putting Scorpion right up there in Rikers as well. First of all, this is a villain that was created by J. Jonah Jameson. J. Jonah funded Scorpion's creation because he wanted somebody to take out Spider-Man, because scorpions are the natural enemies of Spider-Man. This dude has a giant stinger full of acid on his back that he can use at his disposal, super strength. Scorpion is a menace. He's a force. I would love to see Scorpion more, and it sounds like we're finally getting a live-action Scorpion in Brand New Day, and I can't wait to see what they do with him. I loved Scorpion's look in Spider-Man PS5. I will repeat the Spider-Man PS5 love throughout this entire thing because it's so well done. But we're getting Scorpion here soon, and I just love when the Scorpion shows up. I feel like he's underutilized, but when you get to see him show up, you know Spider-Man's going to have a run. Now, we have a guy who has been turned into an anti-hero and a hero as of late, but I am going back to his original villainous roots. I've got Venom, and Venom is in the wrath for me. When Venom is a villain, Venom is at his best. There will be nothing better than the story between Eddie Brock and Spider-Man, where Eddie gets screwed over by Peter, Venom gets screwed over by Peter. You have two guys that hate Spider-Man and hate Peter Parker who team up, and they turn into an absolute force to be reckoned with. Somebody who can get past the spider sense, who knows the ins and outs of Peter's life, someone who is genuinely doesn't really care about anything else than ruining Peter Parker. Like, that's a different kind of villain, right? We look at Carnage earlier, who's just in it to murder and kill. We have Doc Ock, who's trying to get some gain somewhere else. Same with Green Goblin. Green Goblin's a CEO. He's trying to get more power and money and trying to achieve great things in his head, but not Venom. Venom is here to just make Peter miserable, and for that, I have Venom in the raft. Now, finally, we have the Vulture. Vulture's going into criminal activity. Look, he's just an old guy with wings. Michael Keaton did a fantastic job playing the Vulture. It's hard to get behind a guy in skin-tight suit with just some wings, and I know he gets some upgrades. I just would rather they lean more into the robotics of it. I will say the most scary version of Vulture is by far in Spider-Man Noir, because I believe he eats Uncle Ben. He eats somebody. He's kind of a cannibal, and he's terrifying. So if you don't want to have that nightmare in your head, I wouldn't read Spider-Man Noir. We are getting Spider-Man Noir in live action, so it'd be interesting to see if we get the Vulture, that version. Probably not. Hopefully not. Nobody wants to see that. So I have Vulture in criminal activity. All right. Well, what do you think of my list? Make your own list. Links in the description. I don't really care how you feel about it, but on that note, Godspeed.